Are you a no-code consultant who is looking for better quality leads? Maybe you're brand new to consulting and you're just getting started and wondering, where do I even draw the line? Who should I talk to? Who shouldn't I? And when do I know good fit as a client? Well, if these are questions that are buzzing in your ears, you are going to love this video, so stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth. I own Gap Consulting, which is a business we've grown in the no-code consulting space to be over $1 million a year in annual revenue. But today, this video is coming to you from my spin-off brand, Built to Scale. The mission at Built to Scale is to help you get up to speed in the no-code consulting space. We do that by focusing on 3 key things, allowing you to work from anywhere, work less or whenever you want, and ultimately earn more money. If that's of interest, then you will want to check out my free 5-day challenge. You can explore that at builttoscale.io. That's the number 2. And there you can sign up to take that free 5-day challenge, which is going to help guide you to make your first $1,000 as an online no-code consultant. If that's of interest, check the links below this video and sign up for that challenge. But without further ado, let's talk about how you can improve the quality of leads that are applying to work with you through your site. Now, first and foremost, I want to set some guidelines here. I think it's really important as a no-code consultant when you're getting started that at first you do not implement what I'm about to show you here. This is a more advanced thing that I think should only be explored when you are reaching certain milestones. Personally, I believe the best milestone for you in terms of revenue is to focus on making more than $10,000 recurring per month. If you're under that particular threshold, if you're making less than 10K a month as a no-code consultant, I think it's really important for you in those early stages to consistently focus on speaking to more people. So the whole point of what I'm going to show you here today is actually going to weed out these people. It's going to mean that you speak to fewer potential clients, fewer prospects. And that's not a good strategy if you're just getting started, because as you're just getting started, you've got a lot left to learn. So in order to learn that, make sure that you're meeting with as many people as possible. Now, once you reach that $10,000 a month mark, right around that point, that's when you're going to get into the situation where your time is getting more scarce. And if your journey resembles that of the one that we took as we built and scaled Gap Consulting, well then, right around that $10,000 mark is when you say, I am talking to too many people, and sometimes the folks that I'm speaking with, the prospective clients, are not qualified. So please only implement what I'm about to show you right now when you get to the point at which you say, I am meeting with too many people, my time is too scarce, and I need to start qualifying those people before I meet with them. Generally, you'll have been in business for about 6 months or more before you want to implement this. Before then, again, I strongly recommend that you meet with and talk with every prospective client so that you get a real good understanding of who you're serving and what you're doing in your niche as a no-code consultant. All right, now assuming that you meet that $10,000 a month threshold, or maybe you know you're going to get there soon and you want to plan ahead, well then, let's jump into how you can pre-qualify your leads to make sure that you're not speaking with people who just, frankly, aren't qualified to hire you. So I'm going to now direct us to my website for Gap Consulting, specifically to the page where people apply to work with our team. Notice that I said the word apply. We're not giving out free consultations or any of the things that we did in the early days. So once we got to that certain threshold, we said, we can't afford to meet with just anybody. We want to talk to qualified candidates only. So what does that webpage look like? Let's jump on in. Right here, you'll see that when you first visit this page at the very top, we talk about the fact that we are doing no-code custom development and that our expert team of consultants is available for project-based work. Now, look at this part as well. This is very important. We are saying up front what the average price of our engagements looks like. We're saying $9,000, that's pretty typical for our clients to spend when they work with our team. Now, the reason that I recommend that you put this front and center on your website is because of the fact that you're trying to qualify leads. If somebody doesn't have a budget of $9,000 to spend on a project, chances are they'll read this and just move along. They're not going to actually engage with you. therefore saving you time, and you won't have wasted some time speaking with an unqualified lead. So what does it look like from here? Well, you click Get Started and it'll take you on down here. Now, as a no-code consultant yourself, I am sure you can imagine exactly how we built this. We have a form here on our website. It's going to go through a series of questions, and at the end, the automation is going to pick up the information that came in that form and send it right to our CRM. It doesn't matter what software you're using to track your leads, whether that's Pipedrive, Airtable, SmartSuite, whatever tool you're using, probably the one that you are consulting in, well, that's where you're going to send this information with an automation. So here we have the form, and let's just take it one step at a time. Up front, we're saying, hey, you're applying to work with our no-code development team. Give us some information about your project so that we can ensure that this is a good fit. And then, of course, let them know when they can expect to hear from you. In this case, I'm saying we respond to all inquiries within 1 business day. All of this is automated, and a small decision has to be made in vetting the application once it's received. That can take all of 10 seconds once you look over an application, so it really doesn't take up any time to determine if this application is going to move on or not, which is why I set it to just a day in terms of response times. Now let's go ahead and look at the application. First, I'm asking what describes you. Are you employed by a business? Are you an entrepreneur who's in business? Are you a kindapreneur who hasn't really established a business yet? Or are you still thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? So usually what we're looking for is a lead that falls in one of these 2 categories. If you're already employed by a business, or if you're an entrepreneur who has an established business, of course, that suggests to us that you have what it takes, you've moved far along in the process, and that's someone we can work with. Someone who's just starting out, well, that's not a qualified lead for us because we're not looking to usually work with startups. Generally, they don't have the budget. So one of these 2 selections is what we're looking for here. Now we'll move on to the next one. What's your name? Pretty simple information here. Obviously, we need this information from our prospective clients because how are we going to contact them after they fill out the application? So that's kind of a no-brainer. Moving on to the next one, we have email. Again, this is all about contact information. We need to know how we can reach out to you once we have either approved or denied the application. Next page here is getting information about the company. So of course, we're looking to build the account here. So first we're asking about the contact information, the name of the person filling this out, the email. Now we're talking about the company organization that's looking for these services. So if I were filling this out, of course, I'd be filling this out on behalf of Gap Consulting. And then we're going to ask for the website. So whatever that web address is for that particular client. And now we're asking for a business description. So what we want to get at here is, what is it that you do in your business? Are you a service provider, or do you make goods? Who do you serve? What's your market look like? All of those types of questions. It's really open-ended, so whatever they want to tell us. But the reason that we have this question, we are looking to make sure that we're dealing with a business that actually knows what they're doing. They kind of have a predefined process, etc. So whatever they fill out here, I'll just put in some gibberish, but whatever they fill out there is great, and we're going to read that when we receive that application. Now on the next question here, we're asking about monthly revenue. This is not necessarily a deal breaker. If they are at $1,000 a month or less, that doesn't automatically reject the application. However, sometimes it's an indication that this might not be the client that we should be working with. Again, this goes back to the fact that if our clients don't have a budget to really hire us, we probably shouldn't be engaging in that work in the first place. So what we really love to see on this question is anything above $10,000 a month or more. Again, our average client is spending about $9,000 to $10,000 on a project with us. And so we are trying to make sure that they make that much in revenue or more in order to, frankly, afford our services. So whatever they fill out here, great. Again, it's not an absolute deal breaker, but it is an indication that maybe they're a good fit, maybe they're not. Now we're going to ask about the system they're looking to build. This is another open-ended question, and what we're trying to get at is, what do you want us to do? So sometimes the clients will come out and say, I want you to build this in this tool, this way, and that's great. When we get those types of applications, we know we're working with a client who has done some research and has a pretty clear idea about what they're looking to build. Now, on the other hand, sometimes they say, we're just trying to automate this particular process. We can help there too. But of course, the important takeaway here is, what type of service do you offer as a consultant? Make sure that what they're filling out in this particular question is relevant to how you work with your clients. If they're filling something out that isn't a fit for us, we want to let them know that up front so that there aren't any mixed expectations. So whatever they fill out, again, more blank answer here, more gibberish. Move on to the next question. Next question, and perhaps one of the most important, is to make sure that this client acknowledges with you that they have the budget to work with you on this project. One of the biggest reasons that we chose to implement this application process was to screen out the, for lack of a better word, tire kickers that would otherwise want to apply and talk with us and really didn't have any means by which to move forward. Well, we're trying to make sure that when somebody fills out this application, they're a qualified lead. And what better way to do that than to say upfront, do you have access to the money to spend for this project? So again, in case they missed it earlier, where we said that our average project costs $9K, we're breaking it down and saying our projects range between $3K and $12K. Of course, it depends on scope and complexity. On average, our clients are spending $9K with us. Where do you fall in that? Are you able to invest those resources? So we have three options here. Either, yes, I have the financial resources. Two, I have access to the financial resources, which is almost the same thing, but not quite. And lastly, I don't have the resources. So of course, when we see a prospective client say, I don't have the resources to invest, that's a big red flag. Most likely this application will not be accepted and we will instead send a denial response. So whatever they choose here, great, moving on. And then the last question is to ask what type of help they are looking for. Again, this is going to break down to how do you offer your services? What type of services do you provide? And make sure that there's alignment with what the client is looking for. In this particular case, we have three different examples. I want to streamline and automate an existing business process. I want to build and automate a process that doesn't yet exist, or I want to optimize my existing Airtable bases. And in fact, reading this now, I realize we need to update this to include other tools as well, not just Airtable, because we've started to expand into other software as well. So however they fill this out, whatever they select, that's it. They submit that application. Then what happens? Well, of course, as I mentioned, that application is going to be brought into our CRM. So here's where you're going to build that automation that takes that form submission and spits all the information out into the right fields in your CRM system. Now from here, you have to choose what's going to happen with the application. Are you going to move this application forward in the process, or are you going to reject the application and say, sorry, we don't quite think this is the right fit? So here's where I want to break this down into three different outcomes from an application. Number one is easy. The application's approved. You look over the application, everything looks good. They have the income, they have access to the funds, they want to work with your team. Great. Approve that application. What happens next? Well, that should be automated. After you approve that application, build an automated process that moves this prospective client along to the next step in your funnel. Now, the second outcome is another obvious one. It's a frank, flat-out denial. So rather than just leaving this prospective client on the hook, I prefer to respond with an email that says, thank you, we reviewed your application, but didn't think that it met all of our criteria for working with us, something along those lines, so that you're communicating with this prospective client and basically saying, thanks, but no thanks, it's not a fit. Now, the last option is a manual follow-up option. Sometimes I'll get an application and it's borderline. It's not an obvious rejection, it's not an obvious approval. In those cases, I like to actually reach out and have a quick conversation via email with the prospective client before making a decision to reject or accept the application. So those are the three outcomes that we define inside of Gap Consulting, but of course, depending on your service and the way that you offer no-code consulting, you might make some changes there. I know we went pretty quick in this video and covered a lot, but I hope you got a ton of value out of it. If you want to stay up on top of no-code news and no-code consulting, be sure you've subscribed to this channel, and in the meantime, keep on building. Jeez, I'm a mess, guys. I'm so sorry.